Hi, welcome back to the Hallie B Experience. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining me again. Today, we are going to talk about why a wedding coordinator is necessary. And yes, I did say the word necessary, meaning when you structure your budget and you dive into your wedding planning, you want to do a line item for a wedding coordinator. A professional wedding coordinator that has coordinated weddings and or other types of events before. If you have a friend or family member that has done that, great, call them now, get them on board. If not, just it's a quick Google search to do some wedding coordinator interviews. But please, please, please book a wedding coordinator because it is a necessity. It's a necessity because you can't possibly do everything. And by saying you can't possibly do everything, in fact, on your wedding day, the only thing you can do is get married and have fun. It's not much more you're going to be able to do. There's very minimal that you're going to be able to depend on your bridal party and your friends and family for, because they should also be enjoying those moments with you and your now husband. So we're just going to go over a few tips of why a wedding coordinator is necessary. And in these tips, by no means am I saying that these are the only things that a wedding coordinator would do, but these are just some of the big picture things that a wedding coordinator would do. And then there's like a million other things pocketed within all of them that, of course, in a wedding coordinator interview, you can discuss and kind of unpack. But just to give you a big picture on why you may need a wedding coordinator, we're going to give 5 top reasons. Number 1, crowd and damage control. Technically that's 2, but we're making it 1. Crowd control, for the simple fact that 9 times out of 10, your wedding guest list is 100 plus, meaning you have 100 plus people walking in that all want to be close and sit closest to the front row as they possibly can and snap pictures when you may not possibly want pictures taken. And we won't even completely talk about how when your wedding ceremony is over, all 100 plus of those guests are going to want selfies and take pictures of you taking your wedding photos, which that's not a good thing, because all of the flashes from the cell phones when your professional photographer is trying to capture your bridal party, it could really ruin your pictures. So you want that coordinator to control that crowd, move them into your cocktail hour, move them into the reception space, occupy their time by answering questions and providing them with drinks and appetizers and hors d'oeuvres until it's time for them to come in and actually enjoy the reception. Damage control, in the sense of your vendor for your florals ran into traffic, and if you don't have a wedding coordinator, they're going to call you, but you may not have your phone. Or if you do have your phone, you're in the middle of makeup and your floral vendor is saying that they're going to be an hour late. That's going to cause so much unnecessary stress, when a wedding coordinator can catch that and see what they can do in terms of meeting that floral person and picking up flowers or sending them someone else to get other flowers. I mean, there's so many ways that they can resolve that problem for you without the added stress. And that's just one thing to mention. That's not even all of the other things that pop up that you would see happen on a wedding day. And that a lot of times when a bride does not have a wedding coordinator, all of those things come straight to her. And she has to make really hard decisions when she should just be enamored and in love and enjoying her day and having the best day ever. So crowd control and damage control are really top of the food chain when it comes to why it is necessary to have a wedding coordinator. The second reason you would need a wedding coordinator is because you need an MC. Who's going to tell your DJ, or even you and your new husband, when it's time for the first dance, when it's time to cut the cake, when it is time to toss the bouquet? If you don't have a wedding coordinator, your announcement phase of the night could get very sticky and just out of order, and things will be being said and your guests could be confused as to where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing. And I know a DJ can double as an MC, but you would still need that wedding coordinator to communicate what's next to that DJ. So again, a coordinator is necessary, right? The third reason a coordinator would be necessary is that the coordinator serves as the timekeeper and the keeper of time. In a previous video, I shared with you all that your venue will give you a time block, typically a 12-hour day. If you do not have someone managing that time for you, time will get away from you. You may end up having to pack everything up and leave, and you don't do a grand exit because you've run out of time. You may not get to cut your cake and take pictures. You may miss certain photos that you really, really wanted if you do not have someone keeping time. And that person would be your coordinator, because your coordinator is also responsible for creating a timeline for your day, providing it to you days in advance, and reviewing it with you so that you all have a framework of what the day looks like, and every minute should and will be accounted for. The fourth reason a coordinator is necessary is vendor control. So the same way your coordinator would control your crowd and perform damage control, they would also control your vendors. So when your vendors may need a payment, that coordinator will be responsible for making sure those vendors are paid before they leave, because a lot of time your decor vendors are going to come in, drop off, set up, and they're gone. They will not stay for the entire wedding, but they want their money before they leave. So you don't really want a vendor having to knock on your bridal suite or call you on your cell phone and figure out what hotel you're at to get those payments. They also may have questions about the venue when they arrive, because yes, you've met with the vendor and they may be familiar with your venue, but they also bring in assistants to work with them that don't have the same information that you've provided the vendor. I know that's a communication thing on their end, but it happens. So there may be a thing where you all talked about flowers being set up at the bottom of the altar, but then when they arrive, there's already something at the altar and they don't want to touch it because they don't know if you've changed your mind. So they need to know, are we supposed to move this? Are we still putting flowers? What are we supposed to do? A coordinator would have those answers. And if the coordinator does not have that answer, that is the one contact person that would come to you quickly, discreetly, get it taken care of, and go back and control and speak with your vendor. The fifth and final reason a wedding coordinator is necessary is because the wedding coordinator will coordinate your grand exit as well as your breakdown of your event. So your grand exit, of course, is where they would get your guests together, line them up, pass out whatever bubbles or sparklers or balloons or whatever you'll be using for your grand exit. They would pass out those materials to your guests, get them all lined up, get the photographer in place, and then come back to the bride and groom, have them ready to do a grand exit. In addition, the coordinator would also break down and package all of your gifts, make sure they're in the appropriate vehicle, all of your cards with your gifts, any leftover food that may need to be packaged and taken away, any leftover alcohol if you're at a venue that allows you to bring in your own alcohol and you do want to take that back home with you. Your coordinator would be the person that would work at packing all of those things up and making sure they get into the appropriate vehicle and back home with you. If you don't have a coordinator to do this for you, yeah, you could say I have friends and family that will take care of it, but what are the odds of your friends and family having so much fun that they aren't able to do it? They probably won't be able to do it. So those are only five, literally that's the tip of the iceberg, reasons why a coordinator is necessary. And just to recap, your coordinator would be responsible for crowd and damage control. They would serve as your MC. And if your DJ is the MC, they would serve as the messenger to the DJ. Timekeeper and keeper of time. We don't want to get off track because we don't want to go over our 12-hour time block and one, have to pay additional monies, or two, not take care of something that was very important to us for the night. Fourth would be vendor control. You don't want to have to deal with writing checks or giving out cash. Let someone else do that for you. And fifth and final would be your wedding exit and breakdown. I hope that these tips have been helpful as to why a coordinator is necessary. I hope this video helps in the talk. If you are in the middle of discussing a budget and one person feels like a coordinator is necessary where another one does not, I hope this video provided some clarity. As always, we do have tips and things in writing on our website, oneaccordweddings.com. Shoot me an email, weddings with an S at yahoo.com, or leave it in the comments if you have questions about something that I did not cover or that I did not unpack fully. I'm happy to answer those questions. Of course, thank you for your support. Please continue to subscribe, like, and turn on those post notifications, and check us out at the HBE Experience. Bye.